So, Colleen, could you say more about what actually happened when you were at the Gandhi ashram and how that sort of influenced your direction in life?
Yeah, I was at Manasadna for 3 months, and that changed my life. It really connected me to my heart, and I had traveled a lot, but that was the first time I served abroad, and it just, yeah.
So, how did it change your life?
It it definitely reawakened my heart, connected me to my heart. It showed me, um, like, it offered a different way of being and relating to people. And you're amongst people with so little, yet you experience how much love and light they have, um, and how much they give with so little. And you see that throughout the world, but at Manasadna, there's a deep understanding. Um, yeah, just how to really connect from a really deep heart space.
So, what did you do next? What kind of choices did you make as a result of that experience?
Yeah, after that, I came back. I lived in the Bay for a bit, and then I traveled through Mexico and Guatemala for a year and a half. I was by myself, and my intention was just to connect with community. So I do that through art. Um, yeah, and so I would just walk into a village and just start playing with kids, doing art with them. I mean, it could be street children or through an organization, but that.
You would just walk into a village just by yourself?
Yeah.
Wow. How did you do that? I mean, you just walked on foot. How did you find a place to stay or feed yourself or anything like that?
You just ask the grandmas.
You
I
asked the
had a little
grandmas?
Spanish. So you just
Uh-huh.
walk around and you ask, there's a place to stay. You feel it out if that's, you get signs of where to go.
So how did you connect with the children?
Really just paper and pencil. Children are always really curious and they love drawing. So you'll have street children they're trying to sell you things. And then
Uh-huh.
I ask, oh, do you want to draw? And they put everything down. They're like, yes.
Oh,
And all
wow.
of a sudden, all of the things that they're wanting to sell are things that we're drawing and they're playing with, and they're just being kids. And I just think, even if that's for 5 minutes, if I can offer 5 minutes of them just to be kids, then.
Wow. And I think you told me that you have some of that artwork available to show us today.
Oh, no, I don't.
No, or you had something else from Guatemala?
Uh,
Maybe I didn't understand that. But anyway, you do have some images that you'll show us
that's from
later.
Standing Rock.
What? From Standing Rock.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. That's amazing. um, and where else did you say you were at that point?
Yeah, just through
Guatemala,
Mexico and Guatemala.
Mexico. Same thing in Mexico? Or
Yeah.
did you connect with kids there?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, what came next after your trip to Guatemala and Mexico?
Then I came back to the States. I was in LA for a bit, just making art. Um, and then I got the deep call to go to Standing Rock. And yeah, I went in November. I was there for 2 months.
Yeah. So, what happened? How did you go? Did you drive by yourself?
Oh no, they have like a really loving rideshare group on Facebook. So I just found a ride from a stranger sister. This rideshare group is like, I have wood. If anyone's passing by, pick it up and bring it. I have clothes. If anyone's passing by. So it's just a network of strangers all helping each other. to serve.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So what happened when you got there?
Yeah, we didn't know anybody. And Standing Rock, the camp is so much more massive than I had imagined. So, and the energy is very deep. So when I first got there, it's just a lot to take in. But we also arrived kind of later in the day, and the temperature is dropping. So there was a bit of urgency to find a place to set up. But right when I got there and stepped out of the car, that we were greeted by this man named Dan, who's from a tribe in, I believe, Washington. And he is in his full ceremonial outfit, like beaded head to toe.
Wow.
And because at camp, they believe they're always in ceremony. So they're wearing their ceremonial outfits all the time. And he just walked right up to me and says, "Hi, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here." And that was our welcome. Yeah.
So you spent time with a woman from, I believe, the Lakota tribe, Cheryl Angel,
Yeah.
who was one of the elders. Can you tell us about that? How did you meet her, and what happened, and how did you wind up spending time with her?
Yeah, I met her through our brother Pancho, who maybe some of you know of Service Face. He was out there and he had met her, so he introduced us at an action, a youth-led action. And the moment I met her, she's like, "Oh, why don't you come stay with me?" So I moved over and stayed with her for maybe almost, like over a month and a half in her yurt, which I don't think I would have lasted that long if I wasn't with her. She's such a guiding light for so many of us at camp.
Why wouldn't you have lasted that long? What were the challenges?
I think it's so important, just like in normal life, to have a family. I mean, you have your greater family, but to have like a small group, because it's so big, you could just get lost in the whole thing. So with Cheryl, we had a small group of really like-minded, like-hearted people who were really coming from a place of nonviolence and from love and prayer. And so that really helps keep us grounded. And within our group, we planned 2 nonviolent, silent women's marches, which really lifted and empowered a lot of the women at camp who are already, the movement is basically led by women and youth, but a lot of the women are in prayer and in the background of things. And so this was the first time all of the women led the action. Yeah.
Now that's interesting. When you say the movement, do you mean the movement at Standing Rock was led by women and youth?
Yeah. It started with a call out from LaDonna, who owns Sacred Stone. She owns that land. And the
Madonna?
youth, LaDonna.
LaDonna.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So she grew up on that land. Her family is from there. Her parents, her relatives, ancestors are all buried there. All that sacred ground that they're ruining is her family. So she made the call out and said, "Everyone come here." She got approval from the tribe to start the camp. And it was really the youth that came first. And the youth locked down on the machines. And then after that, everyone started coming. So I think what I heard traditionally in a lot of other movements, the elders come first, but in Standing Rock, it was the women and the youth.
One of the things that really struck me when you and I were talking a couple of weeks ago was you were talking about the issue of colonization and the issue of how the people of the tribes look at land and how society is organized versus those of us who grew up in a more mainstream American or other places. I'm wondering if you could say something about that, about colonization, and what's the difference in the value systems.
Yeah, I mean, camp was so beautiful because we really got to look into and discuss issues that people don't want to talk about, like white privilege and colonization. And you have so many cultures, not even just in the United States, but from other countries there. So you have people coming from different places. And with colonization, I mean, if you think about it, the natives were here first, and the settlers came and just took over, took the land, killed all of them, I mean, in the most awful way. And that pattern keeps happening till today. And at camp, you observe, like, there are many people that come and it's a very intense place. You know, you're surrounded by police and snipers everywhere, and there's planes going around, there's lights. The presence of violence and fear is surrounding you. But the camp itself we're in prayer all the time, so it's really grounded in that space. The people come, a lot of them, I'm going to guess, they're really uncomfortable, so they create their little home. They even map out a little area that's theirs. Many people will assert themselves in meetings, like their opinions. They're so used to having their opinions heard. And with the natives, that's not their way. They ask permission. And, when you first meet them, before they even say their names, they start with gratitude. Like, thank you for being here. Thank you for defending my children. Thank you for sharing. My name is whatever their name is. So they're more interested in connection first, whereas you see a lot of people coming from different places are just wanting to create space, own space, verbal space, energetic space, physical space. So the natives really they started having to crack down, and we had daily meetings on white privilege and decolonization, which wasn't comfortable. But I think right now, with the way this country is, we need to start having those conversations.
Yeah. You have some pictures that you have from your time there. And I want to ask you if you could show us some and sort of explain.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we're on your screen.
Okay. So this is when I first arrived, and you could just see how massive everything is. This is from an area we call Facebook Hill, because it's the only area that gets cell phone reception. But they have planes that run around and jam everyone's cell phone, and yeah, and then this is camp once the winter hit.
Looks cold.
It's cold coming from California. Yeah.
Wow.
This is walking to Sacred Stone. So there's 3 camps. I stayed with Cheryl at Sacred Stone, and this camp is Oceti, the large one. And they don't allow photos in Sacred Stone, so I don't have many in here. But posted everywhere are the 7 Lakota values.
Can you go through those?
Praying, finding spirituality by communicating with your higher power. This communication between you and Tunkashila without going through another person or spirit. Respect for self, higher power, family, community, and all life. Caring and compassion. Love, caring, and concern for one another in a good way, especially for the family, the old ones, the young ones, the orphans, the one in mourning, the sick ones, and the ones working for the people. honesty and truth, with yourself, higher power, and others with sincerity, generosity and caring, help without expecting anything in return, giving from the heart, humility. We have spirit, we are not better or less than others. Wisdom, practice with knowledge comes wisdom.
Ah,
So this is really, they really practice this. I mean, it's not even a practice, it's just their way of being.
I'm hearing you read that. I'm looking at it on my screen. I'm imagining, wow, imagine if we could practice those values in the U.S. starting out of Washington, D.C.
Guess it starts with each of us.
Starts with each of us. Okay.
This is our yurt. It's from Mongolia. And this is our yurt in the winter. This is Yurt Life. Here's Cheryl, and she's getting interviewed for, there's a lot of independent media there because the mainstream media wasn't there. And at one point we had about 9 people living in this little space. This is what we see every night. All of these floodlights are dapple lights, and the big cluster on the right is the drill pad. This is a women's water ceremony, which they do every single morning. So in the morning before the sun rises, they start drumming and singing. And then afterwards, the women have a water ceremony because we are the water carriers. So the women carry vessels of water down to, this is Cannonball, even though it's frozen. And it's inclusive, so it's for men, women, and two-spirit. But it's the feminine energy that's leading this prayer. And this is at our Women's March. And I love this photo or this image because we talk a lot about the black snake being the pipeline. And here, all the women, our movement also looks like a snake, kind of going up against the black one. And I just, I still feel really so much heart space when I look at this. And we marched to the barricade, and just 1 week before this day was that crazy mayhem on the bridge where they're shooting water cannons and at us, and people were getting hypothermia. That was just 1 week before. So we were not sure how the police were going to respond to us going back to that space. But it was a silent march, and I had never seen 800 people so silent before, especially at camp. And once we got up there, it was the elders, Cheryl and LaDonna, and Starhawk was there, if you're familiar with her. And they were just praying. They were praying for all the police. And this is what Cheryl believes is we're going to have ceremony. And since the police happens to be here, you're a part of our ceremony. So they're praying for their children. And they said, look, we brought all of your sisters here. And the police, they just started backing away. They were taking steps back. They were nodding. They allowed the elders to actually go around and do a ceremony at the water.
That's a powerful story, a powerful example.
It changed so many of us. I think as women, and a lot of the women here, they had no intention of going to the front line. But when you're marching with all of your sisters, it unlocked a strength in each of us that we didn't know was there. And we felt so strong, but in our own essence. We have examples of what strength looks like in the masculine, but now we got to experience what strength feels like in the feminine. And it was so deep and powerful, to the point where women the very first few lines are called the arrestables, so people that are willing to get arrested.
Hmm.
So women that were way in the back, they felt so strong that they marched all the way to the front line.
Wow.
And that's me. You can see how cold it is. So that's
Looks just like you.
yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Colleen.